So just a collection of last week Parshas Truma as Saba Reichman. Thank you, Saba Reichman, for submitting this. Los Angeles, California. Just a slight correction is that Ksaviyad from the Rambam, it wasn't exactly from the hand of the Rambam.
What was the question?
Not a question of the week now, just a correction of what we said before. That wasn't actually from the hand of the Rambam Ksaviyad, it was really just from the time of the Rambam, and like the Rambam approved of it. But there are other Kisvei Yad Perish Mishnayos of the Rambam that there wasn't the one that I printed out.
Oh.
So yeah, just to start with a quick, I hope we're Yotzei Nilam Dichus over this. Parshas, it really belongs to Parshas Truma.
Oh.
It's the bottom of the bottom was the top of the bottom of the ring. The bottom of the bottom was the top of the bottom of the ring. So this is referring to the Beis Hamikdash, or the Mishkan, where it had in the Mizbeach. The bottom of the badin, the poles, the bottom of it was the place where the ring was holding on to it, was the top of the bottom part of the ring. The bottom part of the ring, the bottom of the bottom was the top of that part.
Oh.
Top of it. So the bottom of the bottom was the top of the bottom of the ring. Okay. So, answer the question of the week. The question was, of the Yeriyas Izem, where were they from? Where did we find else that they came from? Answer is Shir Rabbah, quote cited by the Parshas Asik, says that they came from the goat skins and Yaakov Avinu wore on his hands when he came in front of Yitzchak. Okay. So now, there's a Balaturim in the beginning of the Parsha. The Balaturim. What's the first Balaturim in the entire Parsha? It starts with a saying, Torah Tetzaveh. Okay. It doesn't mention Moshe in this Parsha. What does Moshe say there? The entire Chumash, from when Moshe was born, Parshas Shemos, starting from there, it does no mention of Moshe in Parshas Tetzaveh. Every single other Parsha, starting from Parshas Shemos, has Moshe in it, at least once. Many times.
Probably more than once, Jim.
Yeah. So what's the reason? Atam, Mishum Sha'amar, Mecheino Misifrecha Asher Kasavta. He said by the Egel when he was davening to Hashem, he said, it says later on, so he's begging of Hashem that you should forgive Klal Yisrael. Then if not, basically from your sefer that you wrote. So because of this, he quotes the Gemara in Gemara Makos. The Gemara says that the Klola, when a Chacham gives a curse, even if he says, if you don't forgive Klal Yisrael, then I'll be erased. So even though Moshe said, if you don't, and Hashem did forgive Klal Yisrael, since he said the words, I will be erased, it just, a few more tonight, it will come. So he actually got erased from the Torah. And it was Mekayim, in this Parsha, that's where he was erased from. Brings different reason also, because really like, the kahuna was supposed to go to Moshe Rabbeinu and Parshas Tetzaveh, so the whole parsha talking about kahuna, Big Day kahuna and Meluim. So it was supposed to go to Moshe Rabbeinu and really got taken from him, went to his brother Aaron. So because of that, because of the distress of Moshe, Agmas Nafshoi, it doesn't really mention his name in this parsha. So this is from the reason from the Rishonim. So, okay. So now this is it really comes from the Zohar HaKadosh, Parshas Pinchas. It's really based on that since he said Mecheina Misifrecha, he didn't get his name in Parshas Tetzaveh. It's really from the Zohar, this idea. And even also in Moshe Zakenim from the Balei Tosfos, it's also over here in Parshas Tetzaveh. It also says a similar thing, what the Torah says. Also, and that brings it from the Rosh. If you take a look at the Rosh, where does the Rosh get it from? He gets it from, it says, I heard it from the mouth of Rabbi Don Ashkenazi Zal. The Rosh heard it from Rabbi Don Ashkenazi. Whoever that is. That's where he got it from. And then he adds that Hashem said, I'll erase it from the sefer that I wrote, from the sefer V'atot Tetzaveh, that sefer that I wrote before Kisisa, which is when Moshe said this. So this is when the klala of Moshe Rabbeinu made a mark, and there's no mention in the parsha, which is before Kisisa. That's why it's Parshas Tetzaveh, because before Kisisa. Also the Das Sakanim, if you take a look in Das Sakanim, also from Balei Tosfos, later on in Parshas Kisisa, which is Perak Lamed Beis, Pasuk Lamed Beis. And now, very interesting remnants for this is found in the Sefer Darchei Yosef. It's a newer Sefer. It's written a couple years ago, I think, and it's a collection basically of different nice pshatim on the Torah, Bereshis, and Shemos. So he says in Parshas Kisisa, Misifrecha, the Chachmei Yisrael darshan on this. I don't know who he brings it from, but the Chachmei Yisrael darshan. It says, Macheni nam misifrecha asher kasavta. Erase me from your sefer, misifrecha, misefer chaf. Erase me from sefer chaf. The parsha, the sefer, which is number chaf. Chaf is gematria 20. So Parshas Tetzaveh, which is the 20th parsha, that's the only one besides the whole Chumash Bereshis that doesn't have Moshe Rabbeinu's name. Mecheni nam misifrecha, misefer chaf. It's a remnant for it. I don't know. It says Chachmei Yisrael. Dash this. Okay, yes. So now, there's a brilliant remez from the Gra. Who brings it? Sefer Kilas Yitzchak. Kilas Yitzchak is by Rabbi Yitzchak Reitberg. And it's a sefer by Jerusalem al Torah. He's from Vilna. He's a citizen of Vilna in the year 1899. It was printed. He was actually very close to the Gra because the Gra also lived in Vilna, and the Gra was nifter actually in 1796. So if you think about it, he was actually only about a little bit more than a century away from the Gra.
Oh wow!
It's closer than we are to him. 1899 than we are to the Kilas Yitzchak. So Kilas Yitzchak says, Parshas Tetzaveh, peace for Parshas Tetzaveh. He says, he asks a big question in the beginning of the parsha. It's actually kasha on the parsha. It says, "Ve'ata Tetzaveh b'nei Yisrael v'yechu elech Hashem zayisach." Command b'nei Yisrael. Who's saying this? Who's saying this to? Hashem is saying it to Moshe. You should command b'nei Yisrael, and they should take Hashem zayisach. Chasas al nahar, lan lo yismer tamid. Okay. So Hashem says, what it usually says, "Vaydaber Hashem Moshe limor." Hashem spoke to Moshe. Tza'aves b'nei Yisrael v'mat aleihem v'yechu elecha Hashem zayisach. It should have said Vaydaber Hashem Moshe limor. Why does it say you should command b'nei Yisrael? It doesn't say Hashem spoke to Moshe saying that you should command.
Well, maybe you could say, there's the Shishim Rivoy letters in the Torah. So if you added a pasuk, then it wouldn't be Shishim Rivoy. But also, it wouldn't really make a difference.
Everything in the Torah is for a reason.
Yeah, of course. But also. I'm not exactly sure why, but it actually isn't Shishim Riboy.
Oh yeah, not exactly that. Yeah, that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so because the way you get to prove from is in Parshas Emor, Perek Chav Daled. Parshas Emor, it says the exact same mitzvah of lighting the menorah. It says it in this way. Why does it say here in this way? It's the same exact mitzvah. It should really say Vaydaber Hashem Moshe limor. So he says the Rishonim already say the Balaturim. The Rishonim say that he says the whole reason because it doesn't want to mention Moshe because Mecheni nam misifrecha. But that's not good enough. Still, that's not a good enough reason why it doesn't say Vaydaber Hashem Moshe limor, because that pasuk is in Kisisa later on. Later on, Parshas Kisisa, which is after Parshas Tetzaveh, it says Mecheni nam misifrecha. But Tetzaveh was already written. Doesn't make sense. Tetzaveh was already written. How could Moshe later on say, erase me from your sefer? So he says, I saw in the sefer of Rav Sholom Vilna, like he has a guys on Shas, so a guys on Brachos, a Lam Beis, on Aleph. He says the entire Parshas Tetzaveh, which was said after Ma'aseh Ha'egel. There's no mention of it. Because of Mecheni nam misifrecha. The entire Parshas Tetzaveh, which was said after the Ma'aseh Ha'egel. So he says in the words said after Ma'aseh Ha'egel, he's trying to answer up our question actually. He's saying Parshas Tetzaveh was actually said after Kisisa. So that's why it makes sense. Erase me from your sefer. Okay, so Hashem erased me from Hashem's sefer, which was written after that. So he's really trying to answer this up. So he says, then I saw. And I actually saw that even without saying this, it says Asher Kasavta. Asher Kasavta, that you wrote, which is lost in Avar, that you wrote already, which is this, and so there's no mention in Tetzaveh. The reason why is because it's right before Kisisa. In Parshas Kisisa, Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, erase me from your sefer that you just wrote, the most recent sefer. Oh, okay. So Hashem erased him from Parshas Tetzaveh right before. So really, you don't need to go into that to say that was after my sefer. But he says, listen closely and hear Davar Nichbod V'Nalef from the Gra. Here's the Gra, okay? And don't worry, don't just say Gra. Going Rabbeinu Yod. He says, Adonenu, Mareinu, Rabbeinu, Rabban, Shakol, Bnei, Agoyla, Or Yisrael, Gdoshoi, Hagra, Mi Vilna, Zechonu, Livrocha, Lechai, Ha'olam Haba. Says it's shot. Makes of shot, that's good, right? Okay. And what's this shah? And it is Zayin Adar. If you take a look in the calendar, Zayin Adar always falls out. Parshas Tetzaveh. Add in parentheses. Sometimes, very rarely, it doesn't. Parshas Tetzaveh sometimes very rarely after Zayin Adar. And as you can see, actually, this year, Parshas Tetzaveh was after Zayin Adar. You might say maybe no, maybe just because it was a Sholom Aaron this year. No, you can't say that because then the first Adar. It's just like, well, why would adding another Adar at the end of the year affect it? So it can't be because that, I guess this year is one of the rare years when Zayin Adar is not in Tetzaveh, but usually is. Or you could say that maybe, since it's a Sholom Aaron, Truma and Tetzaveh aren't attached. But if it wasn't Sholom Aaron this year, Truma and Tetzaveh would have been attached. And last week would have been Truma and Tetzaveh, and this week would be Kisisa. So, okay, whatever. Either way, this is one of the rare years, but always it is. And Hashem, who looked all the way at Soif Kol HaDoros, Hashem saw all the generations, and he saw that Moshe Rabbeinu is going to leave the world on Zayin Adar, 7th day of Adar. So therefore, Hashem didn't mention his name in this parsha to be even rumors to this. That this week, the Moshe Rabbeinu is left from this parsha. But then the going continues, actually. Even though he's not in this week's parsha, there actually is 101 psukim in this parsha. And it says, if you look at the end of the parsha, it says, there's Kuf Aleph Psukim, Siman Michal. Every week it says Siman, right?
Yeah.
Siman to remember it. The Bali Messiah, they put in the Siman. Siman is Michal, the Matria 101. So actually, there is a remez for Moshe in this parsha, even though he's not mentioned it. Because if you take a look, Moshe, Mem Shin Hey, the Nelam of it, the Nistar, you know how to do Nistar of letters? You take each letter and spell it out b'miloi. Mem, shin, yod, nun, hey, aleph. And then you take away the word Moshe from that. So now let's go through it. Take the letter mem. So take away the letter of Moshe, which is the first mem, and then you left the mem. Now shin, which is so far Gematria 40. But now when you go into the shin, take away the shin, which is of Moshe, and then yod, nun. It's up for 60, 40, 60, that's 100. That the hey, the last letter of the name of Moshe, you take away the hey in the beginning because that's from the real name. And then you get the nistar, the hidden letter, and that's another one. You equal 101 b'diuk, exactly 101. So this is showing that the chitzonios of Moshe, his gashmios, gufay HaKadosh, the guf of Moshe, that is hidden from us in this parsha. But the Pnimius of Moshe, the Nistar, when you go into the name of Moshe, his Ruchnios, the Nistar of his name, because the outside, the Chitzonios of his name, is just the letters Moshe. But the Nistar of his name is Big Matthew 101. The Torah that he taught us, it's still alive in us. And that's will be forever. And ends up with the bracha of Hashem, Yireinu Neflois V'Tarosai, Amen. So that's the Pshat of the Gra. Okay. Shot of the Gra.
Ready for the question of the week?
Let's just finish up with this quickly.
Okay.
So now, so he mentioned that the Mount Psukim is Michal, Gematria Michal. So what's the connection of Michal to this week's parsha? Of course, okay, we know so far that 101, Moshe is Gematria 101, but what about Michal? What's the shaychus of Michal to Parshas Tetzaveh? You have anything to say about that? So there's a sefer called Sefer Tapuchei Chaim. It's a sefer from the late 1900s. It's written on the Torah.
Wait a second. There's the Michal. There's a pshat. It's was there's two pshatim, Gabriel and Michael. So there's it really belongs in last week's parsha because you'll see why. There's two pshatim who Hashem shliach was to show Moshe the Muslim menorah.
Oh, interesting.
So one of the pshatim was Michael.
Interesting. Okay.
It starts off like Kossus.
That's a good reason. Okay, yeah, it talks about the menorah in the beginning. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what Sefer Tepuchei Chaim says. Yeah. Okay, so he has a section that he goes through all the simonim of every single week, and he explains what it means.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice reason. Let's see. He gives 3 reasons for it. One is that Moshe is the Gematria Michal, like we said, the hidden part of Moshe, like the Gemara mentioned, Gematria Michal. This actually comes from Migdal Mukos. Migdal Mukos from a few hundred years ago. He's a Talmud of the Talmidim of the Arizal, actually. So he actually, the Migdal Mukos talks about this. It says that Michal is Matra, the Nistar of Moshe. He gives a different reason. At the end of the parsha, it talks about Mizbeach, right? Mizbeach has Zahav. So Michal is Makriv Karbonos in the base of Mikdash of Shalmala, like it says, Si, Chagigo, Yud Beis, and Yud Beis. It says Michal is Makriv Karbonos in the Mizbeach. So it has to do with this discussion. Third reason is in the Zohar, Michal HaMalach is called Kana Rabba. Michal is called, in the Zohar, it calls Michal a Kohen Gadol, Kana Rabba. This whole parsha is about the big Nekuna, which is of the Kohen Gadol. So that's why Michael, who is called the Kohen Gadol, a Malach. So the Rekeach speaks about this in certain places, that Michael is a Kohen Gadol Shel Malach. He actually says that Kohen Gadol is actually big Gematria Zehu Michael. Gematria from the Rekeach. So that's his third reason. So now, if you take a look at the Sefer Migdal Mukos, it's in Oifen Nun Zayin. He says, like, he has a whole Indian about whenever Moshe was alive, Michal was not able to lead Klal Yisrael. Because if you take a look in Yeshua, it says very interestingly in Yeshua. Sefer Yeshua, Parakeh, Pasuk Yud Gimel, it says when Yeshua was in Yericho, he picked up his eyes and he saw there's a man standing opposite him and he had a sword in his hand. And Yeshua asked, are you for us? Are you our enemy? Who are you? He says, Ani Sar Tzva Hashem, Ata Vosi. I am the Sar Tzva Hashem, now I came. So Rashi says, who is this? This is actually Michal HaMalach. Came to help Yeshua.
There's a bunch of other pshatim, like Melech
Really?
There's like, I forgot that one.
Oh, okay, yeah. But according to Rashi, this was Michal. So he says, what does mean Ata Vosi? Now I came to help you. He's saying to Yeshua. Rashi says, now I came to help you. Okay, he needs to help him to make the wall fall. But your Rebbe, saying to Yeshua, your Rebbe at the time of Moshe, I tried to come, but he didn't let me. I couldn't come. So in the time of Moshe, he wasn't able to come. So now it's a brilliant remez here. In Parshas Tetzaveh, when Moshe's hidden the whole Parshas Tetzaveh, that's when Michal comes up. That's when Michal springs up. And then he comes, that's when the simon is Michal. Only when Moshe's hidden from Parsha. Every other Parsha where Moshe's mentioned even once, Michal can't come, as we see.
Oh, so it came in this parsha.
Yeah, only in this parsha, when Moshe's gone, that's when Michal comes.
How?
That's from the Migdal Mukos. And the Migdal Mukos also says that it's also a remez for the connection of Michal and Moshe. Michal Sar HaGadol. It calls Michal in Daniel Parakeh Beis, Pascal. It calls him Michal Sar HaGadol.
Rashi is Moshe?
Yeah, Rashi Tevis is Moshe.
Oh, yeah.
That's a remez also, the connection. Okay, now I just want to quickly end off. We don't have so much time to go into it, but we know today, and Erev Shabbos is Purim Katan, and Shabbos is Shushan Purim Katan. So, if you take a look, you can see about it in the end of Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim. It's actually the end of the last simon in Orach Chaim. Whole simon about it. There's a Mah says that some say Yeshar Shechai v'Harbais v'Mishta v'Simcha b'Yodalit Shab'Arda Rishon. Some say Purim Katan, the person should be married with Simcha, Mishnah Simcha, but we're not knowing this. Still you should do yeah, meksas besuda, you should still have a little bit more suda kedei tzei zedei machmir, just be yotzing them. V'toiv lev mishta tamid, and it's a pasuk in Mishlei. V'toiv lev mishta tamid. What exactly is this pasuk? Why is Rama bringing this at the end? Because the pasuk is v'toiv lev, someone who is rich, he has a toiv lev, mishta tamid, then he is samech mechelka, he always has mishta, and the pasuk is teaching you to be samech with your chelak. So you could see, very interesting. I recommend seeing Shari Tshuva, the last Shari Tshuva of Orach Chaim. He goes into this. He says like, he brings, because like there's two tamids. Well, one is tamid in the beginning of Orach Chaim. The Ramah says Shavisi Hashem Negdi Samid. Hashem is in front of me, tamid. And at the end it says Tamid Mishta Tamid. He's trying to do the ending just like how the beginning was. He also says Tov Lev Mishta Tamid. He said actually Ramah is bringing it for Remez. Tov Lebez. Lev is Lebez. It's good for both, for two Adars, even Adar Aleph and Adar Beis, Mishta Tamid, to have Mishta. Pasuk is kind of being Merumas to having Mishta in Adar Aleph even. Tov Lebez, Mishta Tamid. So you should see how Shari Tshuva goes into it. And also the Aruch HaShulchan says anyone who has a Suda, the Kavana is l'shei mitzvah, then that is Mishta v'simcha of mitzvah. Actually becomes a mitzvah. This Kavana is l'shei mitzvah. It becomes that Mishta v'simcha becomes a mitzvah. And that's Ikra Avodas Hashem is with simcha. Ibdu as Hashem is simcha. So that's what really the Ramah means to say at the end. The Aruch HaShulchan says that. And then if you also may find it interesting, if you see, just to end off, if you just check in the Ran actually, Rabbeinu Nissim on the Rif. It's from Rishonim. The Mishnah says that Ein Ben Adar Rishon Adar Sheni Ela Mikra Megillah Mataris Lav Yonim. There's no difference between Adar Rishon to Adar Sheni. Everything's the same. They're both also with Hesped, both also with Tainus. Everything's the same except for Mikra Megillah and Mataris Lav Yonim. That's only in Adar Sheni. It's a Mishnah in the first paragraph.
Tainus, since the Gemara Megillah brings it.
Yeah. Okay. So the Ran asked two questions. Well, why doesn't Mishnah say that also Mishlach Maris is only in Adar Sheni? Why doesn't it say only Sudas Purim is in Adar Sheni? It sounds like everything's the same. There's Sudas Purim in both. There's Mishnah Simcha in both. And then there's even Mishlach Maris. So instead of Mishlach Maris, okay, you would just figure out Mishlach Maris just from Mishnah saying that because of Yonim is only in Adar Sheni. You could figure out that also means Mishlach Maris, because Mishlach Maris goes together with Matas of Yonim. They're with like giving gifts. They go together, so you know that that's in Adar Sheni. But Mishnah v'Simcha, Sudas Purim, there's actually no difference between Adar Rishon and Adar Sheni. The Mishnah doesn't say it. It's the same. Just like Hesped Tainus is also in both. So too there's a Mishnah v'Simcha both, and he says so Gam came Shevro the Harbois Besuda be Dalit Sheba Rishon. Here's a raya that he should be married with Suda and Yudalit Sheba Rishon. So it's both. So it's very interesting. The Ran actually said you should see the Ran. He goes into depth. Okay, so now it's the question of the week.
Before on that pasuk, it just reminded me of the pasuk in Yeshua that he saw. Reminded me of the Gemara Megillah, Gimel and Aleph goes into the Moon Beis. It says that the Gemara says a person. I think it's continuing the memoirs of Rabbi Chi, Bar Abba, Visem Rabbi Yochanan.
Okay.
So a person shouldn't give shalom to his friend at night. If he sees his friend, he shouldn't give shalom to him because he might be ashamed.
Oh,
yeah, and you're not supposed to say Shem before shame. So the Gemara asks, but what about what did Yeshua do when the pasuk says "Vayishtachu Apol"? So what exactly? How did he do that? So the Malach said the Malach said I'm the Sarah about Hashem. So he said he's a malach. So why did he believe it? Maybe he's lying. So it said, no, we have a Messiah that Shadim don't use the name of Hashem at all.
Oh, so it's ours of Hashem.
Yeah, it's in Hashem's name.
Hashem. Oh. Anyway, interesting. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Now for the question of the week: how many bells and pomegranates were there on the Battle of Mail?
Oh, I wonder. Okay, good question.
Okay, take a listen to
Torah Talk, Parshas Tetzaveh.
Okay. Ooh, 22 minutes.
Oh.
I think everyone would really do this.
What?
I think everyone listens to this.
Oh. They're probably listening to this right now, though.
And whoever hears this decides to do it, probably.
Yeah, if you're listening to this right now, then it means you stayed the whole way.